Incredible twist. A poor single dad's life-changing act revealed when a millionaire's blind daughter is in distress. Jack had never been one for luck, but that Saturday felt different. The sun shone brightly over Oakwood, its warmth embracing the town like a comforting hug. Jack was running the booth at the annual charity event, juggling conversations and donations with the ease of a seasoned entertainer, all while keeping an eye on Lily, her laughter ringing like music in the air. Little did he know the day was about to shift in unimaginable ways. At that moment, amidst the laughter and chatter, Jack locked eyes with Charles, a polished businessman whose presence commanded attention. Emma, Charles's blind daughter, stood next to him, taking hesitant steps as she tried to navigate the throng. Sensing her unease, Jack's heart swelled with compassion. "Need some help?" he asked, approaching with a warm smile. A sense of connection blossomed as Jack guided Emma, sharing stories about heroic cats that lived adventures in his neighborhood. Her laughter washed over him like a wave, soothing the fatigue of his demanding jobs. The way she responded, imagining each tale vividly, brought a spark back to his eyes. Right then they were two souls touched by the same longing for adventure, a bond that even the vast economic divide couldn't sever. As their friendship grew, whispers began to swirl in the crowd. "What's that single dad doing with a millionaire's daughter?" hushed voices asked. Jack felt the mounting weight of judgment pressing down, squeezing his heart. As he brushed off their sneers, the news hit him like a brick. The diner where he worked announced layoffs, prioritizing profit over loyalty. Panic gripped him. Losing his job wasn't just a hit to his pride, it threatened Lily's comfort and security. But just when Jack wrestled with the thought of silence, he saw the event unfold before him. Emma was panicking, her world crashing down as a sudden commotion caused chaos. Time slowed. Instinctively, Jack shot toward her, weaving through bodies and sounds, fear igniting his spirit. "It's okay, I'm here," he shouted, reaching her side and guiding her away from the commotion. His heart raced, the adrenaline pumping, each thud echoing his resolve. Before they knew it, the crisis was averted, but as Jack turned back, he felt a shift in the crowd. A gasp rippled through the onlookers, eyes widened in disbelief. Jack's selfless act illuminated the divide that had shrouded their interactions. The whispers faded into respect, as the townsfolk who had once cast judgment began to reflect on their biases. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Jack stood there, catching his breath and surveying the stunned faces, a surprising realization hit him. Emma's father and his past intertwined in ways they never could have anticipated. Jack's eyes met Charles's, and a silent understanding sparked between them. Would these revelations reshape their destinies? As the sun began to set, Jack felt the warmth of the community transform from suspicion to solidarity, yet deep down, uncertainty tugged at him. What would become of their newfound friendship? And would the community finally recognize the true measure of a man's worth? With so many questions swirling in his mind, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, hinting at twists yet to unfold. While people began to murmur among themselves, Jack could feel the weight of their newfound respect. But deep within, an unsettling mix of fear and hope battled. He turned to Emma, who had finally regained her composure, her delicate fingers griping his arm. Her touch felt grounding. "Thank you for saving me," Emma said softly. There was sincerity in her voice that melted away Jack's lingering worries. "I didn't know what to do." "That's what friends are for," Jack replied with a reassuring smile, though he wondered if they were truly friends or simply two people drawn together by circumstance. "Look," she exclaimed, her expression brightening as she pointed excitedly toward the sunset. The sky flared with oranges and purples, each hue more vibrant than the last. "It's beautiful." Jack gazed up, momentarily captivated, and felt a swell of gratitude. It was easy to forget the struggles of life in moments like these, where pure beauty coated the air and reminded him of simpler joys. But then a cough broke through his thoughts. Charles stepped closer, his carefully tailored suit contrasting sharply against the casual vibe of the charity event. "You've got a good heart, Jack," he acknowledged, a hint of something between surprise and respect lacing his voice. "Not everyone would jump in like that." "Thanks," Jack replied, the heat rising in his cheeks. He could hardly believe these words were directed at him. "Perhaps we could take a moment to chat," Charles suggested. Jack's heart raced. Was this how it began? The quest for a job? He felt a tightening in his chest at the thought of leaving everything familiar behind. With a firm but confused nod, he followed Charles a few feet away from the crowd. "Emma speaks highly of you. This town can be harsh, and it seems they're beginning to see you differently. But I want to know more about you, about your situation," Charles said, his tone serious, almost grave. Jack swallowed hard. Did he really want to reveal the cracks in his life? Every detail shared could tilt the balance of their fragile connection. "I just want to do right by my daughter and make sure she has what she needs," Jack said, his voice stronger than he felt. Charles nodded, but there was something in his gaze, something that felt like a decision being formed. "I know what it's like to fight for what matters to you. Perhaps your skills could be put to use in a different way." Before he could process the implication, Lily's cheerful voice called from the booth. "Daddy, can we go on the bouncy castle?" Jack's heart filled as he watched his little girl bounce at the edge of the crowd, waving her arms in excitement. He turned back to Charles. "Sorry, that's my cue. I can't leave her waiting." "Of course," Charles replied, though his eyes were distant, as if considering something far beyond that moment. Jack walked over to Lily, her laughter infectious. But as he knelt down to hug her, his thoughts kept racing back to Charles and the potential changes that lie ahead. Was it possible that the millionaire could see beyond his circumstances and offer the chance Jack desperately needed? That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, Jack couldn't shake off the tension in his chest. What would happen if Charles decided to help him? Or worse, what if he didn't? He closed his eyes, visions of possibility dancing through his mind. The flickering hope mingled with fear, and Jack wondered just how fragile the strings of their lives had become. In the dark silence, one thought pierced through all the chaos. Would he be brave enough to embrace whatever came next? Jack woke the next morning, the sun filtering through the curtains, casting a warm glow on the walls. Lily's soft breathing filled the room, a rhythm that always brought him peace. He pulled himself out of bed, feeling the weight of unspoken possibilities pressing down on him. After breakfast, Jack took Lily's tiny hand and they walked to the nearby park. The vibrant colors of the surroundings filled him with a renewed sense of energy. This time together was precious. He wanted to be fully present. They laughed and chatted animatedly, sharing stories that only a father and daughter could. But in the back of his mind, Charles's words lingered, a potential lifeline that he couldn't ignore. Later that afternoon, while they played on the swings, Jack's phone buzzed impatiently in his pocket. He hesitated but then pulled it out, heart skipping a beat when he saw the name on the screen. "Charles," he muttered under his breath. He answered, and the sound of Charles's confident voice filled his ear. "Jack, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. I wanted to speak with you about a project I'm considering. I think you'd be a perfect fit." Jack's heart raced. "What kind of project?" "A community initiative," Charles explained, enthusiasm bouncing in his tone. "We're looking to revitalize some of the local areas, and I believe your background could bring a unique perspective." "Are you sure I'm the right guy for this?" Jack replied, uncertainty creeping back in. "I'm just a regular dad trying to make ends meet." "Exactly. That's what makes you perfect for the job. You understand the community, you know what it needs. Let's meet and I can share more details." As he hung up, Jack's mind swirled with conflicting emotions. Could this be the opportunity he had been waiting for? Could he really take a leap like this? "Daddy, look!" Lily squealed from the top of the slide, her laughter ringing like music. She slid down, her face bright with mischief. He pulled her into an embrace, but behind his smile was a creeping dread, the notion that accepting help could somehow fail them both. The rest of the day passed in a blur of joy, yet uncertainty loomed over him like a dark cloud. After their evening routine, Once Lily was sound asleep, Jack sat in the dim light of the kitchen, staring at the half-empty bottle of milk. He couldn't shake the feeling that not only was his life about to change, but his decision could either lift them or let them fall deeper into despair. Could Charles's offer be genuine? Was it possible to balance pride with need? He folded his hands together, thoughts spiraling back to the rich man who had surprisingly taken an interest in him. Would he step up and seize the chance, or would fear hold him back again? As Jack pondered, a figure approached the house, Emma walking up the sidewalk, her face lit with urgency. She looked both worried and hopeful, an interesting mix that sent a ripple of concern through him. "Jack!" she called, quickening her pace. "You have to hear what I found out. It's about Charles." Jack's heart thundered in his chest. What could she possibly have uncovered? He opened the door wider, bracing himself for whatever revelation was about to unfold. Emma burst through the doorway, her eyes wide with urgency. "Jack, you won't believe this," she said, her breath coming in quick gasps. She held out a small piece of paper, crumpled and worn, as if it had been grasped tightly in her hand. "What is it?" Jack asked, taking the paper and unfurling it slowly. "It's a note from Charles," Emma replied, her voice shaking slightly. "I found it tucked away in the library at the community center while helping with some sorting. It's addressed to someone named Sarah, and it mentions a project that was supposed to help children like Lily." Jack's heart sank. "Children like Lily? What do you mean?" "It talks about a charity that's supposed to support kids with disabilities," Emma explained, her tone growing serious. "But it goes deeper. He mentions that there's a specific reason he's involved in this, a personal connection." Jack's palms felt clammy. He thought of Lily, the bright spark in his life. What could possible connections lead to? Did Charles see her not just as a child needing help, but something more? He glanced at Emma, searching her face for more clues. "Didn't he mention anything about that project when he called?" she asked, frowning. "Not really," Jack admitted, rubbing his temples. "He just said he wanted my perspective on the community and that I'd be perfect for the job." Emma crossed her arms, concern etched on her brow. "Jack, this could change everything for you. If Charles really is invested in helping children, then maybe you being part of that initiative can open doors. But you have to know why he's doing this." Jack thought for a moment, his heart racing. What if Charles's motivations were rooted in something more personal, a pain that mirrored his own? He had given him a glimpse of hope, but now it felt like the weight of that hope was burdened with uncertainty. Is this charity connected to his family somehow? Jack wondered aloud, feeling like he was fishing for answers in a murky ocean. Emma's face paled. It might be. If he's trying to atone for something, you need to be careful. You don't want to get dragged into something that's not what it seems. Jack sighed, the rest of the world fading away except for the two of them in the small kitchen. He could sense the pull toward the opportunity Charles presented, but now doubt and concern clouded the view. "I want to help, Emma, I really do." His voice dropped to a whisper, tinged with vulnerability. "But I also want to protect Lily. I can't risk getting caught in something that might hurt her." Suddenly, Lily appeared in the hallway, rubbing her eyes and yawning. "Daddy!" she called out, and Jack felt his heart swell with love for her, overriding the fears that had crept in. In that moment, everything felt heavy, and yet impossibly light. Emma straightened up, forcing a smile for Lily's benefit. "Just discussing some grown-up stuff, honey," she said brightly. Jack knelt down to Lily's level. "Everything's okay, kiddo. Just a little confusion." As she nestled against him, he felt a sense of determination build. He needed answers. If Charles held the key to something bigger, more profound that could uplift his daughter's life, he wouldn't turn his back on it. "Emma," he said suddenly, "I have to go meet him. I need to know the truth." As Jack made up his mind, a new ripple of uncertainty coursed through him. Would he find the answer he sought, or would he uncover something darker? Lily's tiny hand wrapped around his fingers, grounding him. In that fleeting moment, what could have been an overwhelming decision shifted into a courageous step forward. "Just promise you'll be careful," Emma said softly, concern still lingering in her eyes. He nodded, but he didn't know what awaited him. If Charles had hidden depths, he was ready to dive deep to unveil them. As Jack opened the door and stepped out, a sudden chill swept through the air, lifting the hairs on the back of his neck. What was really driving Charles? And would Jack be prepared for the truth that lay ahead? Jack stepped out into the brisk evening, his breath forming clouds in the cold air. The world beyond the threshold felt stark and unfamiliar. He looked back at his house for a brief moment, warmth glowing through the windows, a testament to the love that awaited him inside. But this was about more than just a comfortable home. It was about Lily's future. He walked toward the community center, each step heavy with anticipation and anxiety. The note weighed on him, a reminder that there was more to Charles than met the eye. Jack's mind raced with questions. What was Charles's connection to that charity? Why would he care so deeply about kids like Lily? As he entered the center, the lights overhead flickered softly, casting shadows across the empty space. He spotted Charles sitting at a table, his posture relaxed, but his eyes sharp. There was an intensity about him that made Jack hesitate. This wasn't just a meeting. It felt more like diving into a deep end without knowing how deep the water really was. "Jack," Charles greeted, a wide smile spreading across his face. "I'm glad you came." Jack nodded, wariness creeping into his voice. "I found a note. From you." Charles's expression shifted, but only for a brief moment. "Ah, yes. That note is part of something I've been working on for a while now." Jack took a seat across from him, searching his face for any signs of deception. "What's the project really about?" "It's about providing support for children with disabilities, giving them opportunities," Charles explained, passion igniting in his voice. "My daughter was born blind, and it changed everything for us." Jack's heart skipped a beat. Charles's daughter. Were they two sides of the same coin? She deserves a chance to thrive, to experience life like any other child. "I want to create a foundation that gives children like her the resources they need," Charles continued, the earnestness in his gaze deepening. Jack struggled to process this new revelation. "Lily, she means everything to me. I just want to protect her. I want to make sure that whatever you're doing is legit." "Believe me, Jack," Charles said, leaning in. "I get it. I understand the fear, being a parent in a world that feels cold and unforgiving. But I promise you, this is about healing. It's about nurturing the next generation." The note mentioned a personal connection, Jack pressed, narrowing his eyes. "How personal is it?" "More than you know," Charles replied, his voice almost a whisper. "Before my daughter, I never understood what those kinds of challenges truly meant. This isn't just charity for me, it's personal redemption." A silence settled between them, the weight of shared understanding filling the air. Jack felt himself soften. It wasn't just about the project anymore. It was about two fathers grappling with a broken world, trying to create something better for their daughters. "What do you need from me?" Jack asked, the resolve settling within him. "I need your voice. You know the community. You know the families that will benefit. Help me connect the dots," Charles explained earnestly. "All right," Jack said, his heart still pounding. But just as quickly as hope flared, a troubling thought crossed his mind. But what about the risks? What if something goes wrong? Charles leaned back, contemplating Jack's question. His heart was clearly in this, yet Jack couldn't shake the feeling that there was more lurking beneath the surface, something dark that could impact them all. As the tension hung heavy, Jack felt the urgency to uncover the truth. Would this be a chance for healing or a descent into something he couldn't control? Before he could voice his concerns, the sound of a loud crash echoed from the back room, causing both men to jump. "What was that?" Jack exclaimed, rising to his feet. "I don't know, but let's check it out," Charles said, his expression suddenly tense. They hurried to the back of the center, a new layer of uncertainty edging into Jack's mind. What awaited them behind those doors? Would uncovering the truth reveal a path to salvation, or lead them further into the unknown? And as they approached the source of the noise, Jack's instinct screamed, this was just the beginning. Jack's heart raced as he and Charles stepped cautiously into the dimly lit hallway. Shadows crept along the walls, and the air was thick with an unsettling silence that amplified every echo of their footsteps. The crash had come from a storage room at the end of the corridor. Jack hesitated, a tight knot forming in his stomach. "Are you sure we should—" Jack started, but Charles was already leading the way, His jaw was set, determination etched on his face. When they reached the door, it stood slightly ajar, swinging gently as if inviting them in. Charles pushed it open with a swift motion, revealing a chaotic scene. Boxes were strewn across the floor, and old equipment was cluttering the space. But amidst the mess, Jack's eyes were drawn to a small figure huddled in the corner. "Hey there," Charles called out, stepping forward cautiously. "Are you all right?" The figure flinched but didn't look up. Jack's gaze darted to Charles. The sudden urge to protect surged within him. "Stay back, Charles." As he moved to step between Charles and the unknown figure, Jack's heart sank. It was a girl, young and dirty, her clothes tattered and her face streaked with tears. She looked maybe 10 or even younger. Something about her expression sent alarm bells ringing in Jack's mind. "Leave me alone," she shouted, her voice breaking. "Wait," Jack replied, raising his hands in a placating gesture. "We're not here to hurt you. What's your name?" She shifted, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for a way out. Jack took a cautious step closer, trying to appear as non-threatening as possible. I'm not telling you anything," she snapped, defiance mingling with fear. "Look, I get it," Jack said quietly. "I'm a dad. I have a daughter too. I just want to help you." The girl paused, her gaze locking onto Jack's. There was something in his tone, a softness that made her pause. For a moment, the tension seemed to dissolve. "I want to go home," she whispered, the bravado slipping away. "What happened to you?" Charles asked gently, kneeling down so he was at her level. "Why are you in here?" The girl bit her lip, glancing back at the door. "I was hiding. They were going to take me back," she stammered, her voice trembling. "Who was going to take you back?" Jack pressed, feeling the urgency of the situation biting at him. She shuddered at the question, a flash of fear crossing her face as she hugged her knees tighter. "The group, they come to take kids. They said I'm no good, that I don't belong." "What?" Jack felt his blood run cold. "No good. You belong here. You are good." The girl met his gaze for a fleeting moment, a glimmer of hope breaking through the fear. "We need to get her out of here," Charles said, his voice steady. But Jack could see the apprehension lurking behind his eyes. Suddenly, the main doors of the center crashed open, and the sound of shouting voices pierced through the stillness. Panic erupted in Jack's chest. "Jack, we need to move now," Charles urged, taking the girl by the hands. "Can you trust us?" The girl hesitated, glancing towards the noise. "Can you help?" "Yes," Jack responded, determination surging as he took her other hand. "We're not leaving you, let's go." They sprinted away from the noise, unsure of what awaited them outside. Jack's heartbeat echoed in his ears, the weight of a choice settling heavily in his gut. As they burst through the storage room doorway, the shouting grew closer, and fear turned to resolve. This was bigger than Charles's project, bigger than their personal battles. Jack felt the pull of a new purpose: rescue, protection, hope. But just as they made their escape, a familiar figure came into view at the entrance. "Jack?" It was Lily. What would she think? What would she do? As Jack's world spun, the stirring in his gut told him that everything was about to change. Would he be able to protect both his daughter and the girl who needed saving? And what if the truth behind the organization began to unravel before his eyes? Jack stood frozen, his pulse quickening at the sight of Lily. She looked pale, her eyes wide with confusion. Everything inside him screamed to explain, to clear the air. But the urgency of the moment overshadowed everything else. "Lily, he began to say, but the words caught in his throat. "What are you doing here?" she cut in, glancing down at the girl clinging to Jack's hand. The girl looked terrified, her face shadowed by Jack and Charles. "It's not what it looks like." Jack's voice rose, urgency spilling over. "We're trying to help her." "Help me," the girl echoed, her voice barely above a whisper, her grip tightening on Jack's hand. If anyone could sense his fear, it was her. Lily's gaze narrowed, her brow furrowing. "But what's happening?" Before Jack could respond, the sound of hurried footsteps rang out from the corridor behind them. Shouts of several voices echoed, demanding to know where the girl was. "Jack, we need to go," Charles urged, gripping the girl's shoulder and looking over his own shoulder. Lily shifted uncomfortably. You can't just run with her like this. What if someone sees? There's no time, Jack almost shouted. Those people, they want her back, they're coming. Who are they? Lily asked, her voice trembling. Jack had to make a split-second choice. He looked deep into her eyes, searching for understanding. He had guided his own daughter through dark times, holding her against the fear of abandonment. Now, facing both women with him, he felt a wave of responsibility wash over. The organization, he said quietly. They take kids. They think she's no good, but she deserves a chance, just like every child. Jack, Lily's voice softened. You know I couldn't just leave you to carry this alone. She stammered. No time for what-ifs, Charles urged, beginning to tug at the girl's hand gently. We need to move before they get here. Jack felt Lily's hand reach out, clasping his arm. Her eyes searched his, a million thoughts swirling behind them. Then let's get her out, she finally said, determination flickering in her gaze. The shout of a man, deep and commanding, echoed through the hallway. Where are they? An icy shiver ran through Jack. This way, he urged, pulling both girls as he dashed toward an emergency exit sign, glowing faintly in the dimness. They ran down a narrow staircase that led to the back of the building. Jack's mind raced as he scanned his surroundings. Anything could happen at any moment. His instincts kicked in, fueled by the strength of love for both his daughter and this frightened girl. Is there another way out? Lily asked. Her voice was strained, but her resolve pushed them onward. I think there's a parking lot outside, Jack panted. Do you think they know about it? I don't know, he replied, glancing back. The voices grew louder, but he had only one goal: freedom. He reached the heavy door marked with a fire symbol and threw it open. The abrupt rush of cold air hit them, but Jack welcomed it. Time slowed as they rushed through, the sun nearly blinding after the darkness inside. Lily's breathless urgency pierced through the space. We need a car, Jack. His stomach tightened as he turned to the girl, who looked lost. Stay close, he urged, but as they stepped fully outside, Jack's heart sank. A line of figures stood by the car, faces cold and unforgiving. They meant business. Get back, Jack shouted, instinctively stepping in front of the girls, shielding them with his body. Lily stood with determination as well, her voice rising. You can't take her, she deserves to be free. What are you going to do, Jack? The leader laughed mockingly, a dark grin spreading across his face. You're outnumbered. In an instant, Jack felt a surge of desperation and bravery. Would he really let fear dictate his actions? With everything he'd been through, they had to fight. The girl was behind him, still holding his hand tight. As he faced down the group, Jack realized this wasn't just about escape anymore. It was a fight for a future he once thought belonged only to him and Lily. But would he be able to shield them both from the inevitable storm? As Jack's heart raced with a renewed sense of purpose, he suddenly saw a glimmer of hope behind all the dread. And just as he was about to make a move, a blaring siren filled the air, not from the direction of the figures, but rather from the highway booming nearby. Would help arrive in time to change everything? The sound of the siren cut through the tension like a knife. Jack's heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing in his ears. For just a moment, he felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, someone had come to help them. But the figures in front of them didn't flinch, their faces hardening like stone. The leader stepped forward, sneering. Help won't save you. You need to step aside, or things will get ugly. Jack looked over his shoulder at Lily and the girl. Their faces were pale, a mixture of fear and determination lighting their eyes. He tightened his grip on the girl's hand, his resolve strengthening. He couldn't back down now. I'm not going anywhere, Jack declared, his voice steady despite the dread swirling in his gut. You don't own her, you can't take her. Really? The leader mocked, glancing back at his crew. And what will you do, play hero? He moved closer, his face inches from Jack's. You're just an ordinary man and you're standing against a wall of real power. Maybe so, Jack said, holding the leader's gaze. But I'm willing to fight for her, I'm not letting her go. Behind him, Lily stepped forward too, her eyes blazing. You think you can just take kids away because you don't think they're worth saving? You're wrong. They're worth everything. The girl, still gripping Jack's hand tightly, shuffled a bit closer, her tiny frame tucked behind his back. Jack could sense her fear, but also a glimmer of hope beginning to rise within her. The leader scoffed. "You think your passion means anything? You're still outnumbered." At that moment, the sirens grew louder, drawing nearer. Jack could see flashing lights bouncing off the brick walls of the building and onto the pavement. "Get ready!" Jack shouted to Lily and the girl, adrenaline coursing through him. Before the leader could respond, Jack turned, running toward the parking lot. His heart raced with every step, driven by instinct and pure desperation. He heard the sound of footsteps behind him, but he didn't stop. They had to get away. He had to protect them. Lily followed closely, her voice urgent. "Jack, there's a van over there. We need to get in." He spotted it. An old, rusty van parked at the far end, its engine still warm from some recent usage. Jack dashed toward it, praying it would work. Behind them, chaos erupted as the figures reacted. Jack risked a glance back. The leader shouted orders, waving his guys forward. The air was thick with tension. "Come on," Jack yelled, fumbling with the van door. It was locked. Panic surged and his fingers fumbled for the handle. Suddenly, he felt a small hand on his back. "Here," the girl whispered, her eyes wide. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something glimmering. It looked like a key. Jack blinked, momentarily stunned. "Where did you find that?" "Found it in the building," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I thought it might help." Without thinking, Jack took it from her and quickly slid it into the lock. The door clicked open and a new wave of hope surged through. "Get in!" Jack shouted, ushering the girls inside. As Lily slid into the back, he glanced up just in time to see the figures charging toward them. The leader was furious, shouting and gesturing wildly, but they were too late, Jack realized. He jumped into the driver's seat, adrenaline replacing fear. He turned the key in the ignition, the engine roaring to life. "Hold on tight," he yelled, slamming his foot on the gas as the van lurched forward. The tires screeched against the pavement, and Jack felt the exhilaration of escape washing over him. They were moving. They were free, at least for now. But as they sped down the road, he couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was far from over. "Who are they?" the girl asked, her voice trembling. Jack glanced back at her, trying to place her expression. "They're dangerous." He met Lily's gaze. "But I won't let them get you." The uncertainty lingered in the air, haunting him. As they barreled away, Jack couldn't help but wonder what the organization truly wanted, and what would happen when they caught up to them. Would their escape lead to safety, or plunge them into a deeper danger? The van rattled down empty streets, each bump jolting Jack's heart. He clutched the steering wheel tighter, feeling the tension in the air thicken with every second. The sirens still echoed in the distance, a haunting reminder that their freedom was fleeting. "Where are we going?" the girl asked, her small voice cutting through the chaos of his thoughts. Jack glanced back at her, noting the way her wide eyes shimmered with confusion and fear. I don't know yet," Jack replied, forcing a calm he didn't feel. "Just somewhere safe. We'll figure this out." Behind them, Lily was scanning the road, her hair tousled and wild, the adrenaline giving her a fierce beauty. "We should head to my place. It's not far, and I can hide you there." Jack nodded, and his instincts kicked in again. "Lead the way." With a flick of her finger, she pointed toward a side street. Jack made the turn, heart racing, hoping they could disappear into the shadows. "Do you think they'll come after us?" the girl whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Jack met her gaze in the rearview mirror. He didn't want to lie to her, but he couldn't let fear take root either. "I won't let them," he promised. "We're going to be okay." As he spoke, he tried to convince himself too, willing the thoughts of the men they had just escaped from to fade. Lily leaned back, her face serious now. "They're part of something bigger, Jack. I've heard things, bad things." She hesitated, weighing her words carefully. "It's not just about taking kids. It's worse than that." "What do you mean?" Jack asked, his heart sinking. "They're running some kind of operation. I don't know the details, but they want to control people. It's like they're breeding us for something. The kids they take." Her voice faltered. "The kids they take," Jack echoed, fear gripping him at the thought. What sort of horror was lurking behind the organization's facade? Lily took a deep breath, seeming to gather her strength. I found out through the rumors at school. A few kids who vanished a while back. They think they're in this place. A facility. I heard it's close by. Then we should look for them, Jack said, his determination shaking off the fear for a moment. We have to help them. Jack. Lily hesitated. It's dangerous. This isn't just some rescue mission. It's a war zone for them. They'll do anything to keep their secrets safe. Then we'll have to be smarter, he said, his resolve hardening. We can't just sit back and do nothing. The girl shifted in the back seat. Are there really more kids, like me? Jack turned slightly to meet her eyes in the mirror. Yes, and we'll find them. You're not alone anymore. Lily's phone buzzed and she quickly pulled it from her pocket. The screen showed a text from an unknown number. Get to the safe house. They're on to you. Now. Jack felt a rush of urgency. What does it say? Someone is watching us. We have to go right now, Lily said, her voice urgent. Taking a sharp turn, Jack pushed the van to its limits. The road twisted ahead like a dark maze, but he trusted Lily's instincts. She knew these streets, and though his heart raced with fear, he felt a spark of hope igniting. As they rounded another corner, headlights flared in the rearview mirror. Jack's stomach dropped. They found us. Keep driving, Lily shouted, her tone fierce with determination. The van picked up speed. Jack felt the heat of panic rising. If they were outnumbered before, now it felt even worse. The thrum of approaching danger intertwined with their desperate bid for freedom. Hold on, Jack yelled, pressing the gas pedal to the floor. I'm not letting go, the girl whispered, clinging to her seat. The road blurred ahead. Every twist felt like a new chance or a new threat. Would this be the end of their escape, or the beginning of a fight for their lives? Jack's heart raced as he realized just how far they were willing to go to protect each other, and how closely their fates were intertwined with the darkness chasing them. As the headlights grew bigger behind them, Jack had to make a choice. Would he risk everything for a chance to rescue the others? Jack! Lily screamed, her voice piercing through the fear. We have to make it to that bridge up ahead. It's the only way to lose them. Could they possibly outrun their pursuers, or were they running straight into a trap? The van's engine roared defiantly as they sped toward the unknown. Jack's heart thundered as they raced toward the bridge, the roar of the engine echoing in his ears like a battle cry. He could see the structure looming ahead, a beacon promising safety and possibly freedom. But time was slipping away, the headlights behind them creeping ever closer, shadows of danger threatening to swallow them whole. Hold on tight, he shouted, gripping the steering wheel with white-knuckled intensity. He glanced back, catching a glimpse of their pursuers, 3 vehicles now in hot pursuit. The sense of impending doom pressed heavily against him. Jack, I believe in you, Lily called, her voice steady despite the chaos. It filled him with strength, fueling his determination to fight for them all. As they approached the bridge, Jack's instincts kicked in. The road narrowed and a wild idea sparked in his mind. Lily, we're going to have to take a risk. What do you mean? She asked, her brow furrowing in concern. The bridge has those barriers, right? He nodded toward the small wooden poles lining the edge near the entrance. If we can veer off and duck underneath, maybe we can buy ourselves some time. Lily's eyes widened. Are you sure? It's a big jump. It's our best shot, Jack replied, feeling the adrenaline surging through him. With a quick look at the girl in the back, he shouted, Hold on! He steered the van toward the bridge with all his might, heart racing as they neared the barrier. The growl of the chasing engines echoed in his ears, urging him onward. Now! Jack hit the gas, feeling the van leap forward as they passed under the low-hanging wood. The bump jolted them, but they cleared it, barely. Behind them, the screech of tires filled the air. Jack's breath caught as he glanced in the rearview mirror. The pursuing vehicles faltered. One skidded, the other crashed into a pole, metal screeching and groaning, sending a metal plume of sparks into the night. Keep going, Lily shouted, her voice breaking through the roar of panic that gripped him. We're making it. As they barreled across the bridge, the sound of the rushing river below sang a haunting melody, reverberating with desperation. Jack pushed the van faster, fear igniting his every instinct. He raced against time, against the darkness chasing them, against the unknown. "This isn't just about us anymore," he breathed, half to himself, half to the girls. "We have to save the others. Every kid trapped by those monsters." Lily nodded fervently, her resolve matching his. "They need us, Daddy. They're counting on us." Just ahead, the road split, shrouded in shadows. Jack could either continue down the path that looked more traveled, or he could take a risk and veer left toward the overgrown trail. "Left," he called out suddenly, trusting his instincts. "We have to keep moving." He turned hard, sending the van bouncing across uneven terrain. Branches scratched against the windows, the crunch of loose dirt beneath the wheels resonating with urgency. "We're going to lose them, Jack!" Lily shouted, optimism slipping into her voice as she assumed they were safe. "I hope so," he replied, glancing back momentarily. But fear clawed at him. They could still be coming. They had to keep pushing forward. The trail opened up onto a reclusive clearing, moonlight cascading down like a spotlight, illuminating an old abandoned cabin. "Jack, what about there?" the girl suggested, her tiny voice laced with inquiry. "Let's check it out," Jack decided, the urge to protect them rising. "Maybe we can hide just long enough for them to pass." They pulled into the clearing, and adrenaline still coursing through him. He hopped out, quickly ushering Lily and the girl inside. The air was stale, dragging with dust, but it felt like a sanctuary. "What now?" the girl asked, uncertainty trembling in her tone, her small hands gripping the side of the door. "We wait and watch," Jack replied, peering out the window. Seconds stretched like hours as the world outside fell quiet. He felt the weight of their breathing, the sound of their hopes resting on his shoulders. Then, in the distance, the unmistakable sound of engines approached. 1, 2, 3. Jack's breath caught in his throat. His heart raced as headlights pierced through the trees, shadows soon following as the trucks drew closer. "They're looking for us," Lily murmured, her voice barely a whisper. Jack's pulse quickened. "We can't let them find us." "Daddy," Lily said suddenly, concern filling her voice. "What if they know we're here?" "We need to be quiet, no matter what," he urged, crouching low. Moments felt like lifetimes as they huddled together, their only refuge a decaying cabin, the darkness outside growing ever more menacing. "I'm scared," the girl said softly, squeezing her eyes shut. "You're safe with us," Jack reassured, wrapping an arm around her. "We're going to protect you, I promise." But their safety was shaky, and Jack couldn't shake off the feeling that they were trapped. Would they successfully outsmart their pursuers, or would they be dragged back into the very horrors they had fought tooth and nail to escape? Elevated urgency coursed through Jack as he positioned himself to listen closely to the voices approaching from the trucks. The words grew louder, a sense of dread creeping closer. "Check the woods," a gruff voice ordered. "They won't get far." Time seemed to freeze as Jack exchanged worried glances with the girls. The darkness pressed around them like an encroaching tide, ready to swallow everything whole. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside, monsters prowling and searching for them. Jack's heart raced as the moment of confrontation drew near. Would fear guide their fate, or would courage shine through the cracks? Jack's hardened resolve swelled. They would fight, they would protect, and if it came down to it, they would stand against the storm together. And just as the cabin creaked under the weight of uncertainty, Jack found himself inching toward the door, ready for whatever awaited them outside. It was time to reclaim freedom, or die trying. He braced himself for what lay ahead, but would his hope for a brighter future eclipse the darkness creeping back into their lives? Would they truly find the courage to fight back together? Just then, the faint sound of sirens echoed faintly once more, finally giving him a reason to believe. There might just still be a chance. Would they emerge victorious at the edge of the night, into dawn's promising light? Jack clenched his fists, resolute. This fight was only beginning. Now was the time, and he would not let fear control them any longer. Together, they would become a force of love and defiance against the shadows. It was a mission, a promise, and there was no turning back from the light. As destiny awaited, Jack unleashed everything within him and pushed open the door, ready to reclaim their freedom. But would he be ready for the ultimate fight ahead? Would courage ring louder than fear and hope stand tall against despair? There was only one way to find out. Jack stepped forward into the unknown, his heart pounding with the rhythm of resilience and determination. There was still a chance to protect them all, a chance to change everything, and he would fight for that chance no matter the cost. The end, the beginning of everything that truly mattered, and life would never be the same again. This story doesn't end here because change is always just around the corner. Now, if you felt the impact of this story, I urge you to support us in this journey. Don't wait not even one more second. Hit that subscribe button immediately so you won't miss any of our exclusive stories that'll touch your heart. And if you enjoyed it, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. It means the world to us to hear your reactions. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our channel through these actions. Together, let's keep the light alive.